as much muscle cells as when I'm getting a high output and getting my my muscles to snap. Going blank on the correct words, forgive me. But that living tissue, my heart has to pump to push the blood into the actual tissue. Living tissue now needs to be fed. When the body goes to feed itself on the regular, and that's why you see a lot of people out there, they will see once again a no-neck person like me eating every couple hours. So you turn around, it's like, bro, didn't you just eat? Yeah, but I got to eat again because I'm trying to keep the muscle tissue that I have. And the whole purpose of that is when the body has its choice on what to burn. We've got our brain, our hearts and lungs, our bone tissue, central nervous system, muscle, body fat. Most people believe that, let's just say the general public believes that when I start eating less food, my body is burning body fat. That's why the scale is going down. No. That's why when you eat more food, you are actually thicker than you were when you started dieting. And people go, oh, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to 800 calorie diet. I'm going to lose the weight. And they come back and they get bigger. And each time they get bigger. And each time they get bigger. Each time they get bigger. If you're not adequately feeding your body, what it's doing is it's going to eat the muscle mass. And when you're just doing a jogging type of cardio and not doing a hypertrophy and actually telling your body that it needs living tissue, it's going to get rid of the living tissue long before it gets rid of the body fat when you take the body into a calorie deficit and you increase the output. So the first thing it's going to burn is your muscle. You need your eyes, you need your lungs, you need your heart, you need your brain, you need your bone density, you need your teeth, you need your central nervous system. You do not need muscle. Most people are not doing enough physical activity. We're not hunting for our food. We go to Albertsons, we go to Sam's Club, we go to wherever to get some food. We're not physically hunting for food anymore. It is there at hand. Uber Eats, I'm starving, hit a button, Domino's, whatever it is. Technology has made it to where I can just simply hit a button and get fed. So my body doesn't need all this excess mass. So when I go into a calorie deficit and I don't tell my body I need this muscle, I'm just going to lose some weight. The first thing it wants to do is start shedding muscle mass. And then when I go into a calorie deficit, a lot of people like to, I'm not going to eat after 5. I'm not going to eat when the sun goes down. I'm going to do a cabbage diet. I'm going to do a grapefruit diet. And then at some point, you're going to eat. Your body fat is your savings account. You've told your body that it needs a savings account. So the very next time that I have a meal, like a real meal, a lot of people will go, I won't eat all day and I'll eat lunch. What your body's going to do is it's going to take lunch and it's going to hold on to it. It's just going to give off just enough calories to sustain brain function, heart function, and central nervous function. It's not going to give any more calories for that. It doesn't need anything else. Walking on a treadmill, jogging does not require a lot of muscle tissue. If anything, it requires less muscle tissue because the heart doesn't want to work as hard pumping all that blood through the tissue. The less tissue it has, the less hard it has to work when we take it to that elevated heart rate. So it's going to get rid of muscle. So the purpose of eating every couple hours when you go to a calorie deficit, that just means you get smaller meals, eating every couple hours. The purpose of doing that is so the body knows that we used to call it, when I went to school for this, we used to call it energy in, energy out circle. So long as the body knows it has something coming in, it can get rid of the bad stuff. People joke around with, oh, you can eat anything you want, Bob, but he's eating all day long. When you were a kid, you were constantly shoving something in your face, but you held on to your body. You were small. You had an active metabolism. You had a good heart rate. You were active as a person. Your body just got rid of stuff because you were eating all day long. Unless, of course, you were eating junk all day long, and then that caught up to you when you're 25. So it's just the body doesn't need muscle tissue. Muscle tissue continues to burn at a higher metabolic rate hours after. If I use my tissue, my muscle tissue. I go into hypertrophy. I do everybody's favorite day. I do legs. I squat for an hour. I'm only taking a 30-second break. That means my heart is pounding. I've developed a sweat. I'm sweating profusely. Then I'm going to go do some form of cardio post-workout. And now my muscles actually are the thing that needs to be fed, because I told my body I'm using muscle tissue. I need this muscle tissue because I'm going to do this very same thing to you tomorrow. I'm going to go lift weights tomorrow. So now the body goes, I've got to burn something, and that's why it starts choosing the body fat over the muscle tissue, because the muscle tissue is alive and it needs to be fed. Hope that makes sense.
So, talking about the constant eating and working out actually reminded me of something that I want to put this out there, and hopefully people comment and talk to me about their experiences, because I like to get to know, get people's more feedback on this. Is that is when I was in high school, I went to my junior year doing basically every season of sports. I was working out every single season. I think it was my junior year. I moved to South Carolina. When I moved to South Carolina, I wasn't able to do sports because of just the big old jump. And with that, I basically went to crap. Did not eat right, didn't do anything right. I just kept on just being a kid. But with that, when I went to the doctors to get a checkup on me, and I actually was still weighing around the same weight as when I was over there, even though I've gone through almost a year of eating junk food. And they said that because my body was so used to that for so many years, that just because I went through it for 1 year of basically an off season, my body was still working in a high speed, helping my metabolism still going. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was able to still be small and eat a lot.
Factor in youth. Youth has a high metabolism, generally speaking. Not all youth are that way, so that's why I say generally speaking. You are athletically inclined, so your body was a machine. It's like having a 69 big block Camaro. I drive that puppy every day. She's still beautiful, she's strong. But if I let her sit 10 years and I try to step on the gas again, something's going to break in it. So it's just that you were still an active person and you didn't let the car sit that long. So you were still doing okay, you're still young. Most people go through this. People hit a wall between 25 and 35. There's a wall that the average human hits. And all of a sudden, clothes don't fit anymore. What I was doing is just your metabolism at some point slows down.
Yeah.
Depending on how your life is, I get more sedative in my life. If I'm a young man and I go out and I have a construction job, I'm swinging the hammer. But by the time I'm 35, 36, I'm sitting in the truck. So now I'm no longer swinging the hammer, I'm sitting in the truck.
Yeah.
I got a better pocketbook, so I'm able to eat better now because I'm no longer swinging that hammer. This little thing of mine starts protruding because I'm sitting in a truck. So my metabolism is just slowing down, and it's just metabolism. And speaking of the word metabolism, I'm going to go back and revisit supplements really quick. Fat burners. It's a very misleading word. If you take a pill labeled a fat burner, it's not burning fat. The CLAs, L-carnitines, all that stuff I talked about, those are healthy ingredients that help the body transport body fat, but only at a calorie deficit. If I'm taking L-carnitines and CLAs and eating ice cream, it's not going to do anything for me. Now, this is where the word fat burners come into play. What a fat burner actually does, it's time released and it's slowly releasing stimulant into my body, which is going to affect my heart rate. So now my heart rate is going to be pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. So I'm tricking my body into thinking that it's in a constant state of activity. That's why they consider it fat burning, weight loss drug, because it's telling my body that it's in a state of metabolic calorie deficit. So I'm have my heart pumping, so my heart thinks it's doing some sort of running, it's doing some sort of activity, even though I'm sitting and I'm sedative at a position. It's allowing my heart to pump, and so my body thinks it's at an activity. So that's what a fat burner is. It's just simply tricking my body into thinking it's being active.
Okay. What's called? So, before we get done with the day, I want to have one more question that I feel is in a lot of people's minds. What would you say is the good ratio between cardio and weights? Because we got people who are going for strength, and then of course the people who are going for hypertrophy and just trying to get the.
Now, are we talking about weight loss or in general? Because everything is calorie output. So if I'm trying to lose weight, I need to outperform my calorie input. So if I'm outperforming my calorie input, I am going to lose weight. So now cardio is a necessary evil simply because I train. In a perfect world, I get to train 2 hours a day. I just don't. It's not a perfect world. But in a perfect world, I could lift weights 2 hours a day, and it wouldn't faze me. I've been doing it since I was 17 years old. I like to work out. I'm 320 pounds. I would have to introduce some form of longevity cardio to actually convince my body to start losing weight. I still have a high output, but my body's quite good with my output. I'm used to that. I know what this dude's going to do. He's going to go do this. I'm good with that. I would have to bring in that outside stimulus. That's where you always hear people talk about morning fasted cardio. Morning fasted cardio is not a necessity. It's just a good piece of work. If I crack my eyes open in the morning, drink 2 big cups of water to get my liver and my heart to function perfectly, and I go do 35 to an hour of cardio, I'm going to stimulate my body to go into a calorie deficit and get my heart rate up the moment my day starts. So I'm stimulating my body to let's go, let's move. Then I'm going to work out, and then after my workout, it's just simply cardio is necessary to increase my output. The general person goes and lifts weights every day. I just have to outperform what I'm taking in.
Okay, so
that's why you see things like Stan Efferton. I think he's an incredibly smart man. He has the vertical diet. The vertical diet, Stan believes that you should eat. After you eat, you should walk every 10 minutes. So every time you eat a meal, you go for a walk, 10 minutes. Now, I think it's the greatest thing since sliced cheese. If you're eating, somebody like Stan Efferton, he's eating anywhere between 5 to 9 times a day. Stan is from the school of 2 to 3 hours worth of eating, so it just depends on how big his day is. So you think about it. I was doing an hour of cardio 2 to 3 times a day when I was losing weight, getting ready for shows. Stan, if you do 10 minutes of cardio and you're eating 9 times a day, you're doing an hour and 30 minutes of cardio.
Okay, yeah.
So what it's trying to do is every time I eat, the most people eat, we go sit down. When I sit down, I allow my food to sit. I allow my heart to slow down. I'm at a rest, so now I've got a traffic jam in my digestion. So if I get up and I move the moment I eat, I'm triggering my body to go, hey, let's get that food going. Let's take care of some things. Let's repair, recover, blah, 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 blah. And so that